We start today's news at noon with breaking news in the New York City shooting death of United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson. Thanks for joining us. I'm Drew Carney. Police say they've arrested a man who had a gun similar to the one used to shoot Thompson. Police took 26-year-old Luigi Mangione into custody after getting a tip from a worker at a McDonald's in Altoona, Pennsylvania, who said they spotted him inside the restaurant. New York Mayor Eric Adams described Mangione as a strong person of interest.
Upon further investigation, officers recovered a firearm on his person, as well as a suppressor, both consistent with the weapon used in the murder. They also recovered clothing, including a mask consistent with those worn by our wanted individual. Also recovered was a fraudulent New Jersey ID, matching the ID our suspect used to check into his New York City hostel before the shooting incident. Additionally, officers recovered a handwritten document that speaks to both his motivation and mindset.
Police say Mangione had a ghost gun. Ghost guns can be put together at home by the user without a serial number, making them difficult to trace. Detectives are on their way to Pennsylvania to interview the 26-year-old suspect. Also in New York, a jury found a Marine veteran not guilty of killing another man on the city's subway system last year. Daniel Penny was cleared of criminally negligent homicide after a more serious manslaughter charge was dismissed because the jury deadlocked on that count. Penny put Jordan Neely in a chokehold for roughly 6 minutes when he was acting erratically and yelling at passengers. Penny briefly smiled as the verdict was read. Outside the courtroom, NBC News caught up with Jordan Neely's uncle.
What does this verdict represent to you?
America. That's exactly what it meant, what it represents. It personifies ugliness. It personifies what has been already occurring in the United States of America.
This case has caused a political divide in the U.S. Some high-profile Republican politicians called Penny a hero, while some prominent Democrats attended Neely's funeral. In local headlines this afternoon, a big cleanup and repair in Hillsborough after a hit-and-run driver crashed into a power pole. The crash happened around 11:15 last night near Southeast 5th and Oak. A black SUV hit a power pole, and that led to a power outage. We were there earlier this morning as crews were repairing the pole that was leaning over Oak Street. Police say they arrested 41-year-old Eduardo Aguilera Lazaro for driving drunk. They say a license plate fell off at the scene, and they found a badly damaged vehicle at the house where that plate was registered. Meanwhile, construction will start next week to repair the Stark Street Bridge in Troutdale. That bridge has been closed since September when one of its stone support walls partially collapsed. Multnomah County says there will be a 24-hour single-lane closure on the historic Columbia River Highway near the bridge during construction. 2 temporary traffic signals will also be set up on either side of the bridge to control the flow of traffic. 1 lane of the bridge is expected to be reopened by the end of February. We have some new information to share about a cyber attack of Washington State Computer Network. We now know a state employee likely clicked on a pop-up ad last month, allowing a virus to enter the system. But we're also told that no personal data was jeopardized. For more than 2 weeks, gun sales were put on hold because the State Patrol wasn't able to conduct necessary background checks. And there was also a delay for potential foster parents to get approval to house children. The head of cybersecurity says when the agency learned the network was being attacked, they disconnected the system from the internet before the attackers gained any information.
They had a weakness where they put in a piece of software that anybody who visited, it would throw a pop-up. And that pop-up was basically malware. And if you didn't use a specific way to get out of that pop-up, it was going to infect your computer.
The state says security upgrades have been put into place since the attack happened. All right, take a look at this now. A man forced to jump into the water to escape a boat fire in the Puget Sound over the weekend. We're told the man is okay, though. A nearby boat rescued him yesterday as the 40-foot boat he was on burned offshore near Seattle. Damian Alvarado spotted the fire and says he quickly called 911.
It was pretty dramatic. The boat went up into flames very quickly, from a little smoke to flames everywhere.
Seattle fire crews towed the boat to a more shallow area of the water, making it easier to recover in the event that the boat sank. The cause of that fire remains under investigation. Meanwhile, back here in Portland, the fire department says a debris fire in between two cars started a bigger fire over the weekend inside a downtown parking garage on Southwest Columbia Street. It's not clear how the smaller debris fire started, but the two cars on either side of it burned. We have the fire and rescue hotline up on your screen. It's 503-823-FIRE. Anyone with information about this fire is asked to call that number. And with that, we take a quick break from our news headlines to check in with Rod Hill in the Weather Center. So, Rod, let's talk about the rest of the day's forecast.
I have a sunshine tour for you. Now, let's go up where it's been clear all day. This is gorgeous. It's 30, by the way, up at Timberline Lodge. Pretty shocked because you got a little ice crystallization on the camera lens, melting in the sun. You got some skiers and boarders out there. Just gorgeous. They have a 60-inch base, by the way, after picking up about a foot of new snow over the weekend. Here's Cannon Beach. Also, it's been like this all day at the coast. Another beautiful, sunny 50-degree day coming right now. Calm wind, sunshine, and 48. It's just started to break up out in Hood River, where sunshine's coming this afternoon. Partly cloudy from Cathedral Ridge Winery in Hood River. And if you look carefully, there's a little brightness. I see some shadows down here in Salem. There's our state capital. Obviously, good visibility after a foggy start this morning. You folks are at 43. And downtown started to clear out in the 11 o'clock hour. We're currently at 49 with no wind. I mean, that's really nice, right? So the remainder of your afternoon, how about increasing sunshine? Most areas that have some lingering cloudiness will be 45 at 4 o'clock. Remember, this is about between now and 1 is the warmest part of the day. So even with sun, we'll be mid-40s at noon and then quickly getting into the upper 30s at 8 o'clock this evening. We have a frosty night coming. This morning wasn't that cold. It will be cold tomorrow morning, and your complete forecast is coming up.
All right, Rob, we'll check back in with you in a few minutes. Meanwhile, 2 people are in the hospital after an early morning stabbing in southeast Portland. It happened just after 4 o'clock this morning on Southeast Grand and Stark. Police haven't released a lot of details, but we know there was some sort of fight and both people ended up with those injuries, although police tell us both are expected to survive. A Southeast Portland video game store was broken into over the weekend. It's not the first time this business has had to deal with this, but as KGW's Celine Stevens explains, this time the crime was caught on camera.
I guess it's disappointing when things like that happen, and it just is disheartening.
Early Saturday morning, security camera footage shows a thief breaking into Red Castle Games in southeast Portland.
Yeah, so we got to all the Yu-Gi-Oh! And Pokemon, and then that's when the audible alarm triggered. They quickly threw what they could in the bag and hustled out the front door.
It appears they broke in the front door, which the owner, Matthew Mitrituch, believes was done using a crowbar. The thief then heads straight to the glass display, which housed the Pokemon cards and other merchandise.
You can sort of see where our locking mechanism used to be, and he just pried the whole thing out. He damaged the glass here a bit and just went to town cleaning everything out.
The cost of what was stolen?
Probably it's only around $1,200, which is, compared to prior robberies last year, it's less impactful, though the glass and repairing the door, I mean, I'm sure it'll raise to several $1,000s.
He says the footage shows the thief was only in the store for a few minutes, getting away before police arrived. Staff removed the rest of the items left in the case due to it no longer being secure.
But it breaks my heart because it is a small business in a place where I spend a lot of money.
And this isn't the first time the small business, which has been open for almost 15 years, has been hit.
Last year it was either 5 or 6 break-ins. Our most significant one last fall, that one was a little over $60,000.
Customers who frequent the store say it's a disappointment, and for many, it's more than just a game store.
It's a local business, it's a community, and so then when people are taking from the community, they're really hurting all the people that come here.
Although Mitrituch is grateful it wasn't as bad as their previous burglaries, with only a few weeks till Christmas, he says he plans to just cut his losses to avoid insurance hikes and work on repairs.
It takes effort to be a jerk and to be a thief and to be angry. It's like, just be nice to people.
Celine Stevens, KGW News.
All right, next up here at noon, we're going to take a look at this picture because this is the man who's wanted for robbing a Walgreens with a gun over the weekend. Multnomah County Sheriff's Office says it happened at the Walgreens on Southeast Stark near Southeast 257th just before 10 o'clock Saturday night. According to the Sheriff's Office, the suspect is Hispanic. He's in his 30s. They also say he left the store with money but haven't said how much.